Chris, the founder.
What's up?
What's the deal?
Chillin'.
All right, so you fashion designer, the founder of the Community College Club,
Yeah.
aka Mendax, and I know you don't like. It's not a lot of pictures of you out there.
Yeah,
I get
I'm kind of just a behind the scenes type of nigga. That's just the kind of vibe I just give myself.
okay. All right, so I want to start back at the beginning. So like, where was you from and what was your upbringing like?
So I'm from Southfield, but I've been going to school in Detroit since I want to say since around middle school. That's actually around when I met a lot of members of Mendex. Like we was all cool just off Xbox parties and shit. And to this day, we just always been a clique.
Okay, so when you were starting Mendax, what was your initial vision for it?
My initial vision for it was mostly like this is the first hoodie I actually made. Like when I was making this vision, it was just like university wear. Like that's why I was trying to refer back to high school because when I think of Mendex, I think of a lot of like college university shit. That's how I started off thinking about it. But over time, I thought of it more of like just a group of people just trying to make a difference, like just trying to stick out even though they just feel isolated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay. All right, so your fashion designing background, when did that start? Like when did you know that's what you wanted to do, like designing clothes and things like that?
I think I just really started messing around in Illustrator at first. And then once I just started messing around in Illustrator, made this design, I think that's when I just started to say, fuck it, like this could be a thing for me.
Okay. And were you thinking of it in terms of like selling apparel or just at that point it was just something you like to do?
Like, okay, I'll say this. Like, when I first started making designs and just started thinking all this stuff, I actually just took a year just thinking of things. Because apart from this, like, being something I sell, I really do, like, have a really big interest in fashion. Like, I've always been on, like, Grailed and stuff. I don't know if you heard of Grailed, but
Yeah.
a lot of my fashion inspiration definitely comes from Grailed. I spent a lot of time on Grailed. I had a history in high school reselling, too. So reselling and Grail taught me a lot about fashion to the point where I just wanted to experiment with it, just see what could I make if it goes on like a shirt or a hoodie. And then eventually I let myself make Mendex get to the point where I trusted enough to make it something to sell. And yeah, that's definitely what this product was when I was just ready to design something to sell.
Okay. All right. So when you were ready to do that first sale, were there any members at that point? Were you guys already together?
So Mendex at first was just me just making clothes, and I did want it to become eventually what it is, the name Community College Club, and that's when it became the name. But at first, my friends just were able to see me just creating this because when I graduated from high school, I didn't really go to college or anything. I was just working, going home, just working on this idea really. So like once it started coming to flesh and they got to see what I was really making, I saw it was starting to make like an impact on them. Like this is something they wanted to be a part because I didn't want to force them to be a part of CCC. Like that was never my intention at all. Like if you were to join CCC today, I want you to join CCC for you, not me, if that makes sense. So like eventually I think they just, over time just started getting like inspiration from it, starting seeing like how they could be a part of this or what could they do in life. And then eventually that's when it just started fluctuating. Like me and Jamar, I would say like out of our group, we were like the first people to like be doing stuff like
Okay.
outside of just like stuff you wouldn't regularly do. Like he wanted to be a rapper, I wanted to make clothes. That's what we said like a long ass time ago, and we've both been sticking to it ever since. But
Okay.
trying to
And
think.
it's evolved a lot since
It's
then, cause
evolved a
like
lot, bro.
cause I really want to understand, cause it's really deep. Like your friends, some of them have tattoos.
Yeah.
Like it's really deep. So like what do you think it is about Mendex that people feel so attached to it?
I think it's just the individuality of it. Like this, some, how should I put this? Someone asked me recently, like, what does Mendex mean to me? And I just say it's a part of me. Like, I say it's a part of me. I say that because of the individuality in it. Like, I think a lot of people are just attracted to how, like, it's just something so fresh, and it's like we're not trying to do anything negative. It's just all positive shit. That's all the whole meaning of the brand.
Dude, you make the hoodie design. You how did you make your first hoodies? What was that process like creating them?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to throw nobody under the bus because I really appreciate the people that helped me like put together my first drop. But so when I first got into this stuff, it was really hard to just figure this stuff. Like I feel like anybody in the clothing business at first, I feel like now it's starting to become more easier to figure out how to make clothes. But like back in like 2016, 17, you was a nigga that know how to make clothes. You was really mouth shut because like I would just ask so many people for help trying to figure out this, that. They just wouldn't like want to just help a nigga. It's terrible. But at least now it's YouTube videos on the shit. But anyways, back to the question. Like, so I had a friend help me from LA, and that's how I got this hoodie made. But you know, over time, as I was learning more about clothing manufacturing, I learned that like I wasn't really getting the best deal. I could really be doing way more. And so, and my solution for that, and that became out of like just being tired of waiting, expenses, all that good stuff. Like once I just did the math, I'm like, this isn't worth it. So,
Okay, how many, like that first drop? Like how much were you trying to buy? Like how many pieces?
Hoodies?
Yeah.
I want to say it was like no more than like 30. I didn't even make
Okay.
any actual large hoodies. Like that's how small it was. It
Okay.
was just like a whole test run. But when I decided I didn't want to do something like that anymore, I mean, it was first the hoodies. I made two things. But I made hoodies, and then you might have seen like my black tee, like my original Mendex black tee with the letters on the back. That's another one I made.
Okay. All right. So when you do that, that first drop, how did it go for you?
I'm trying to remember. That was a really long time ago.
And like around what year? This is like 2016, 17?
17, I want to say. Actually, no, 18. It was around June 2018.
Okay.
It went pretty well. I believe I sold out of everything. Like, I had a little bit left, and it just all went like, I want to say a couple weeks.
Okay.
Definitely. But it went well.
That's good. All right. So after that, were you feeling some momentum?
So yeah, this is what I want to get into the next part. So after that, I was just realizing like I don't want to have somebody make my stuff like this anymore because I really wanted to like be able to touch and feel what I'm making, like be able to see my measurements on like my screens and stuff.
Mm.
For people that don't know what a screen is, like if you see this is like two screens. So somebody screen printed with some green ink right there and then went to some gray ink right there. And then I was just thinking, like, how is this done? And so I went on a really long YouTube search just trying to figure out how to make clothes. And that resulted in me buying my first screen printer. It was around, like, I want to say 1500.
Okay. All right. So that's a big investment. Where do you go for something like that? Can you just go to Amazon or is it?
It was a website for screen printing I went to. But yeah, I was working at the time. I actually sold some shoes because I was also in the reselling, like I said.
Okay.
I sold some Jordan Union 1s and some money I put together and bought the screen printer. And that was the best investment I ever made in my life. I still use it to this day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So would you say that was the moment when you feel me? You done made a big investment in yourself. Like, is that when you really started taking it serious? You got the screen printer on hand so that you can do it whenever you want.
It took a long ass time just to be able to learn how to use it, but yeah, it was a very important investment. Like, I could have went down the manufacturing route, but I just think me having that screen printer allowed me to see more details and think of graphics differently because you're just really seeing what you create come to life in front of you when you just screen print.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what was that process like learning how to use a screen printer? Did you have any teachings at all? Like you mentioned you didn't really go to school.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. After high school, like everything I've learned for this brand, I give to the internet. I mean, I've made a lot of good friends on Twitter too. I'm active in a lot of Twitter communities. I've made a lot of good creative friends that's helped me along the way. But I give a lot of my dues to YouTube, really. Like, I just sat on YouTube for, like, long-ass days after work. That's all I would
facts.
do.
You can learn everything from YouTube.
I'm still learning things about screen printing to this day, honestly. But I would say the moment where I was really like satisfied with what I was making was after my drop in September.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I was like really like accepting the fact that I can make clothes that don't. It's just like a quality shirt, basically. Yeah.
Okay. So, will you say that was your? Would you call that your best work?
I would call my last drop my best work, honestly, because I
Okay.
was. I've never made that many graphics by hand and released it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How? Okay. Okay. Now you're okay. Now you're making all of them by yourself with the screen printing machine.
Hmm.
How? What is that process like? How many are you making? How long does it take?
It depends, cause like it. Trying to think how to word this. Like this drop, I've learned better. I want to say last drop, I was lost at first. So I was really lost, but I didn't have like a really good sale history to know what to buy.
Okay.
The best way I feel like you should get into clothes is like after like your second or third drop, that's when you get in some momentum and you starting to really see some sales. And I feel like you should really pay attention to that inventory you selling, like what you're selling and not selling. So for this drop, that's what I paid attention to. So
Okay. So, do you feel like it's really important to just not always have your clothes available and to just drop periodically?
I think it depends on your style if you want to do that. I think that's my style. I just like to do that because like I don't know. It's just the way I see these clothes, they're like art pieces to me in some sense. Like I don't really want to see a graphic I've made for so long if I know I can make it again. Well, not make it again, but I know I can make something even more. Like why
Okay.
should I keep like rinsing and repeating this graphic if it's not meant to be like that?
Okay, and that's true. We do like see like a couple of different logos from you, and you know traditionally with brands they'll have their one logo, and they'll put that on everything forever. Like
You know, let me take. I don't want to take back what I said. Like some logos, like my smiley or some other designs I have, I definitely do want to keep reintroducing. But I feel like as long as I'm going to like make this brand, I'm going to try my best just to give people like different work as
okay,
much as I can.
all right. And what is your inspiration really? Would you say
Um,
like what keeps you going every day to think of new designs to you
I
know?
think you know at first it was really. At first, I was really just looking up to people like Kanye and stuff when I was just thinking it's like Kanye is one of the first people to just be to make optimism cool for black people like us. I feel like, but now I feel like my biggest inspiration is just the people around me. Like just seeing the impact my clothes have on my friends, just people around me, people across the world. That shit honestly just keeps me going. I feel like, but
Okay,
yeah.
all right. What would you say is one of your best moments you've had since just with the clothing side?
Best moments?
Yeah. Or your greatest achievement so far.
Mm, I don't know. I think it's this last drop because like every drop to me kind of just symbolizes how far I've came to learn something. Like there's just a whole bunch of details that only I would really notice in this drop that I'm just kind of proud of myself for like just learning from my mistakes and putting those details into it. So I
Okay.
think like the way I should put this. Like, I think every drop I have will always be like one of my greatest achievements to me because, like, that's just like a large body of work I'm putting out, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what would you say you've learned like from doing every drop? What's the most important lesson you learned through?
Invest wisely. Just always invest wisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. That can definitely be more than clothes. That's anybody who
100%.
really
Yeah.
trying to start their own thing, get it off the ground.
Build your credit while you can. As young as you can, just build it. You would thank yourself later. Don't go in debt.
Where what are your goals for Mendex?
Like right now, type
Yeah,
goals.
what are your goals in the next 2 years for Mendex?
2 years. Hmm. Definitely just want to just keep dropping like more different shit. Like I really want to get out of just the shirts and hoodies. Like
Okay.
that's when a brand starts, that's always how they're gonna build foundation. Shirts and hoodies. That's just how it is in the game. But I feel like there's a certain group of people that's always gonna make that type of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like it's always gonna be those people that want to make different shit, like maybe cut and sew or just venture off into different shit. And that's definitely my biggest goal, and more
Okay.
colors in my work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you say you feel like your designs are art pieces, and that's how you feel like the way you think about them. I usually, I talk to a lot of rappers, and I ask them like, what song would they send to someone who isn't familiar with their work? What is a piece? And I know like people can't see it right now, but you can send me a picture of it, and I can have it on
All right.
screen. What is a piece that you would show to someone who isn't familiar with any of your work?
Probably the smiley, only
Okay.
because that's like the graphic I've like reintroduced in so many different ways, and a lot of people tell me like that graphic is always something that just means something to them. So
Okay.
definitely the smiley is became a staple piece, and I didn't even look at a staple piece when I made it. That was a graphic I made. I was watching. I was watching a runway show. It was one of Tyler's runway show, and I just got the idea randomly from just seeing this little. It wouldn't even look like the smiley design, but I just saw like this little smiley on like some pair of jeans he had, and I just made the graphic right there in like not even 30 minutes, and it's just became
It's
one of
here
my
to stay.
biggest graphics. Yeah.
Okay. And let's get into your other one. What exactly does Mendax mean?
All right. So the meaning of Mendex. When I was first thinking of community college club, I was just on Google just thinking of like college ideas and shit. So I was just trying to get inspiration, and I was Googling Ivy League logos. And I believe it was the Harvard one I came on. I don't know if you really ever looked in depth in some of those Ivy League logos, but you see like that Latin on the bottom. It's
No.
always it's always Latin on the bottom of all the like the Ivy League, like their main logos. And I noticed Harvard had Veritas, and that means true in Latin.
Okay.
I took Latin in high school, so I was just thinking like, damn, what if I made like my own like Latin word and make it just have it like a meaning? So I was thinking of Veritas at first, so I'm like, all right, what's false in Latin? And that's when I Googled false in Latin, and I came up with the word. I don't know if I'm saying this right. I think it's Mendacium.
Okay.
So I came up with Mendacium, and I'm like, that word kind of sound weird, but I kind of fuck with the meaning of it being false. I just saw representation in that word for me.
So besides it being a a clothing brand, I want to talk about more of like the other things that you guys get into.
Okay.
All right. So when did it start being more than clothes? Like what was
Mm,
that first?
I mean, like, when did it become more than just me just making clothes? Like, when did it start becoming something like people represent type
Yeah.
shit? Think it was when I want to say it was Jamar that started that. Honestly, like we had a shoot. There's this spot by my house that we call a spot. It's an abandoned school. I'm not gonna say the location of it on camera, obviously, but everyone knows it's called the spot. We had a shoot there one day. I think this is the memory in my head that I just kind of just signify like this is when this shit is becoming something. So it was this shoot he had, and it was for Vault Music, one of his first albums. Not one of his first albums, but like one of his first like Styx trilogy albums. And
Okay.
I shot the cover and actually edited that cover. So I think to me, that's when it started becoming more than clothes.
Okay. Cause now you're doing videos too.
I've always had a history of editing videos and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, before Jamar even went by the name Jay Sticks, I made one of his first promo rap videos. So yeah, I always
Okay.
had history doing that.
All right, and do you still have a passion for that, or is it?
Definitely, like my last promo for my drop, that was made by me. I edited and shot that whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what's up. All right, so with everything else, you guys have the Mendax and Friends event. I would say that you
Yeah,
guys are
it's gonna
trying
be
to
an event. I'm not gonna
put
pinpoint the
together.
date yet. We working really hard on that shit right now. I guarantee you it's gonna come soon. But we are working hard on it and it's gonna come. 100%.
Okay. All right, well, bet. Shit, let me know the info when I'm there, you know?
Okay. We got you.
All right. Anything you want to leave the people before we get up out of here?
Manifest everything. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Bet it up. If you still watching this long in the video, you know the deal. Like and subscribe because I know you didn't. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Yep.